Hi. So today it is my turn to chat to all of you about what it means to break through the entrepreneurial jail. Now, a lot of us has been in that situation. A lot of us have been in the place where we don't pay ourselves what we should. We are in a situation where we pay our team everything, that everything that we do evolves around us. Everything that we put our mind to or our hands to, we have to completely set aside, and we have to make all the decisions, and we have to be in part of all of that. What ultimately happens is you can't take a break. You've created this jail all around you where you just cannot step away from your business, or you believe that all hell will break loose and you can't just actually have a phenomenal, incredible life. No. You go on holiday and you're still having your laptop out. You go on holiday and you're constantly checking your emails. Or you grab your laptop and you run to have a secret, quiet space just so that you can check what's happening on the emails. Did this client get what they want? Is this sorted? Is that sorted? Did your team think about this? And you basically completely lose sight of having that break and that time off. Because if you have that time off, it actually sets the pace to have creativity flow again. And if you have creativity flow within whatever it is that you do, you have a better perspective. And that's what I actually want to chat to you about today. So some of the big mistakes that I used to make, especially the first time around and when I started all my different businesses, was that I would try and do everything myself. Now, first of all, I am not a doer, so that was not the best thing for me. I got frustrated with everything, and I just really did not like doing any of that. All right. Then, when I eventually made the decision to actually hire someone, I paid them more than what I paid myself. So they were off extremely well, but I was not able to run the company still, and I still had to look for extra jobs, right? It sounds stupid and so illogical when I'm the one that takes the risk, right? You the one that takes the risk. Why would you want to give that benefit of all the growth and everything that it is to someone else? So eventually what happened was I was making good revenue, but absolutely no money. That's not cool in any business, right? So then I had to seriously rethink about how we structure this. And this is exactly how I help my clientele right now, is to see how they can break through from an entrepreneurial jail, but to investigate each and every aspect of their business. It can be in a big corporation, or it could be a solo entrepreneur or a small to medium enterprise. It really doesn't matter, because majority of all of us still make similar type of mistakes. Our context is different, and the value that we add to our clients differs. So that makes it all unique. But the principle of all entrepreneurs kind of do the same thing. We have this absolute thing about willpower. And like, if I can dream it, I can achieve it. And if I just work harder, it will work out. Or if I can just grow bigger, it will work out, right? And unfortunately, that's not always the case, right? So what happens is you are in this flat spin of trying to grow and grow and grow, because there's this belief that sales fixes everything, but that you never actually just look down and see what is around you, right? So the first thing that we do is we investigate each and every department. How do we get about it? What are our key aspects that we're looking for, and what are the pain points that we really want to solve? Then we look at what it is. How do we actually spend majority of our time? So us as entrepreneurs in a small to medium enterprise, we are still the most important person in that business. We are the decision makers. We're also the risk takers. So in that situation, how can we move forward, or how can we move on in order to make that better? So let's look at how you track your time on a daily basis. How much time are you spending on actually making sure that the sales do come in, that the systems run in place, or to think about who is your ideal clientele. Remember, the more specific you are on that, the better it is for your business. It sounds super cliche, but the richest are in the niches, the more specific you can be, the better it is. I was talking to a client of mine today that is, or like I had a discussion with a lady today about how she was a photographer and how she moved into her URLs and her SEO was all just about photography. But the minute she added family and newborn photography, it completely changed her life because now she's got specific. So the more specific she got in who she's actually targeting, the easier it is for business to find them and clientele to find them. So, hey, Tommy, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I know, guys, Tommy is calling all the way in from the UK, and it is a little bit late where she is, but she is amazing and she looks beautiful. So, thank you so much for joining us. Tommy, today we're chatting about those times that all of us entrepreneurs do, like we'll go on holiday and we're still checking our laptop or we're still fixated with our phone. So we don't actually enjoy the time with our family. We're looking for those time, like those spots where there's Wi-Fi. No, I'm just going to go to the bathroom, and then you stay there for an hour and a half, just checking all the emails, making sure that your team did what they were supposed to do, making sure that everyone is just on point. So those are the things that we're currently chatting about. How did, in your specific experience, what have you done in those spaces that all of our entrepreneurs do and that all of us actually make those mistakes with?
For me, when I go on holiday, as long as I'm outside of my house, I tend to do good with regards to managing work. I think I mentally detach from everything. I always say to my husband, when I go on holiday, I'm free. The downside to that is I spend a lot of money on holiday. So I tend to detach anytime. But the key thing for me is to be outside of the house. I have to physically not be in my house, and even preferably not in a family house, not in a friend's house, preferably out of the country. If I am having a holiday within the country, I still would be checking my work. I'm still in a zone where I'm still conscious about what's going on. But the moment I get on the plane and leave the country, I think in my mind, I leave everything behind. And it sounds good and great, and basically the ability to have certain control in your life. However, the downside to that is for me, I find it difficult to take a holiday because I know that when I go on holiday, everything has to be in place. So for me to be able to go on holiday and not think about what is going on, a lot of things have to be in place. And sometimes I find that difficult, and that's why I don't take. Oh well, recent years anyway, I don't take enough holiday. So that's what I personally have to work on. But when it comes to actually leaving the country, I literally zone out. So I'm very good at that with my mind. It's
Hmm.
just basically getting myself out of the country. That's a challenge.
Shucks, that's a very good one. But I have found even if I am in a different country, like I used to still fall in that trap of now I'm in a different time zone, so my response time is a lot slower. So I need to be even more on track of that. And what I found is the the moment that I was mentally able to break through the entrepreneurial jail that I've created for myself, the better it was for me and for my business. Because now I wasn't no longer the bottleneck. My team was empowered to do what they were supposed to do and what they were trained to do. That is how basically you almost set up your business that it can run on autopilot. I know it doesn't happen immediately, but that's what we were working towards, right?
Hmm. I think, yes, you're right in that sense. I think what tends to happen is it's more of creating that culture before the holiday comes. So it's the ability to detach. And if you want to detach, you want to be able to have ensure that your personnel are trained. I was reading
Mm.
a book recently, and the guy, his name was Alan, the author of the book, and he said the truth is that um, your staff may not be able to replace you 100%, because obviously you're the entrepreneur, or you have a knowledge of every area in the business. However, if they are able to replace you at least 80%, that is still good. You don't always have to
Mm-hmm.
be 100% all the time. So even if the target is, this person, this team can do the job when I'm not there, at 80%, at least that gives you that time to recuperate, relax, and enjoy yourself. Because by the time you come back, you are free. And I
Mm.
feel that, and I think that's what I have to work on with regards to holidays. That I don't necessarily have to leave the country to detach, is to have more frequent breaks, because that refreshes the mind.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that refreshes the mind. Another thing I wanted to add as well is that social media doesn't make the world easier, because once you go on social media, there is so much distraction, and you can be on it for hours. So I would say, even if you're on holiday and you're doing a process of detachment, you want to ensure that you are, to some extent, detaching yourself from social media and look for other entertainment avenue, like watching
Mm-hmm.
movies, going out, and things like that. Because once you get on social media, you will see something with regards to your business, which will trigger that work mode that you're trying to detach yourself from. So I would say it's not just the business, but social media, detaching from social media as well when you're taking a break.
All right. I 100% agree with you. But Trace, thank you so much for joining us. We're chatting about that mistake that all of us entrepreneurs make, that we go on a holiday, or at least in the beginning, that we can't remove ourselves from what's actually happening. We're still on our cell phones, we're still on social media, like Tony said, we're still checking our emails, we're still doing these things. So we're kind of very much distracted, and we're not fully present at what is happening. What are some of the things that you've done in the past that was just really stupid as you look back at it now?
Um, Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's great to see you. Um, um, when I first started up my business, it grew really quickly, and I was doing a lot of things manually, and I didn't really have much of a tech stack and automation to help, and so I didn't take a holiday for a very, very long time. Um, but
Mm.
it, we, and we were working weekends because the nature of the job was very much had to be on demand, had to be very reactionary, because when people are staying in your houses, this is when I started up my short-term rental business. You've got to have someone available, and we got to a point where we were able to hire staff, and then immediately take 2 to 3 back-to-back holidays. It was just like, we haven't had a holiday for so long. We needed boots on the ground in Tokyo. And when we hired somebody and had them trained, we were gone. We were like on a plane. We went to Thailand. I think we went to Thailand for a holiday. We went to Bali for a holiday. And I think we went skiing as well. It was just like, we just got to go. But at the same time, because I'm talking 5 or 6 years ago, there wasn't much in the way of a tech stack to allow us to automate a lot of the communications. So even though we were away, we still, were checking our phones and checking, when people were um, were coming into town. They needed to be able to contact us to let us know when their plane was arriving, for example. It's just because there wasn't the tools to automate that there are now. And even though we were on holidays, we were still, you know beside the pool in Thailand, checking, speaking to customers when their flights were arriving, and it really was hard to really switch off, and it was quite stressful. So you could just feel, so you'd be at the pool all morning, beside the pool, hanging out with your family, and then as soon as that time ticked over where we knew someone was coming, that just you could feel the blood pressure just rise immediately. So of course that wasn't ideal. But when we figured out that we were doing that, we then put in a tech stack to replace us, so that a lot of these things could be automated, and that made all the difference. It could, then we could really actually have a holiday. Humans are not meant to work crazy, ridiculous hours. You burn out, and a burnt out CEO does not help anybody. So actually building in self-care and building in a break is one of the best things you can do for your productivity, because you just need it. Just keeping pushing on and pushing on and pushing on, it's just not helping anybody. So yeah, holidays is something that's really important to us.
I agree with that. But that's exactly it. So for me, it's also massively important. I just came from a phenomenal trip in Cabo, Mexico, with a whole bunch of other entrepreneurs that were able to also just break free from their entrepreneurial jail that they've created from themselves. The systems are set up, the team is there. And that's kind of what I want for all of the people that are part of our community, for all the superwoman entrepreneurs, that they are able to actually take the time off and be with their family, be with the people that they want, and do the things that they really want to do without being stressed about this client and that catch up session here, and where's the money coming from here, who's checking up the invoices, are the invoices sent, did the people pay? Because as a solo entrepreneur, even a very small company, all of that still lands on your plate. So how can we structure your business so that in whichever way then you still conduct yourself, that your profits are still increasing, but not just your revenue? A lot of the time I get entrepreneurs that say to me, well, I must just grow. No, I must just grow. Can we just grow? And I'm like, yeah, all right. But if you grow, you still need extra teams. You still need extra systems. So by just growing doesn't mean that it's going to take over your time, and your profit situation doesn't going to fix that. How can we streamline the business right now so that you still get the amount of profit that you need and your owner's compensation whilst your company is growing? That's the key, because that's basically the key of you stepping into the next level of your business. Tell me, you've exited businesses before. How have you done that?
Yeah. I think the key thing is to ensure that you streamline your processes. There comes a time where, when you are in a stage where you're growing, for my business that I'm doing right now, I'm in a growing stage phase. You, it's as you are taking every activity, you want to ensure that your processes are documented. Like for me, whenever I do anything, I don't like repeating it without documenting it. And obviously, when things change, we can always edit, because when everything is documented, then it's easier for any person to follow. Now, as you increase your sales, because it normally comes from sales, when you're having so much sales and you're getting so busy, and you feel like you need more staff. I think that is the where you have to pause and ask yourself that, are you being productive enough in everything that you're doing, from the systems and the processes and the methods, and how you're getting clients in, how you're delivering your products? The moment you feel like you're not reaching your goals with regards to the orders, you need to stop and have a look at your processes and see how you could streamline. The danger is that at that point, this is when people think about, I need more hands, I need to get more people in. And you know that with regards to overheads, the most one of the costs that actually eats into your profit margin is overheads, which is mainly staffing, right? I know in today's age you can utilize virtual assistants, which is fine, which cuts down the cost, but you have to ensure that the virtual assistants that you're using are properly trained as well. And I think
Yeah.
even that is a process on itself, because sometimes you have to go through tests and trials and to see how good or great they are. Anyway, the summary is, the moment you feel like your orders are increasing and you feel like you need to get more staff in, that is when you need to take a pause and review your processes, because I can guarantee you that there are going to be, things in that you are currently doing within your business that you could streamline. It could be a client onboarding process. It could be, it could be anything, even the invoicing. Are you using the right systems? Are all your systems speaking to each other? Are they automated? How automated are they? If you're using 10 software, can you slim it down to about 5? Or using 5, can you get to about 3, where everything is updated automatically? Once you're done that, before you start thinking about getting an additional staffing, because staffing employees are, they eat a lot into your profit.
So that's one thing I do agree with you of knowing when to hire. But Trace, I know I've been in there where I usually push hiring to such a late stage that it's actually detrimental to me. And I've been in situations where it was completely premature what I got a team or someone involved. What is your secret source of when to actually get that extra help on so that you can break through your entrepreneurial jail and actually go and enjoy the holiday?
Um, the main thing is you've got to figure out where your time is going now, and take a step back. I mean, so many, you get so busy in the day-to-day grind. You need to, actually take, stop and look at what time you were saying before. You have to really look at what you're doing and how you are spending your time. There's some really good tools, like time that will track your time, but you've got to force yourself to use them, and you've got to force yourself to actually have that CEO brain. Now, a CEO knows that it's not their exchanging time for money. It's being able to leverage all of your systems and all of your resources, but you can't do that, you can't see that if you're actually working in your business. So what you've got to do is you've got to track your time, and then actually force yourself, whether it's with a coach or whether it's with a trusted person who's not in your business, is to really go through and look at where your time is going and see where you can automate, outsource, streamline, or even just not do some stuff. I mean, I think when you do get caught up in your work, sometimes you do get stuck doing busy work, and you can sort of take a step back and go, oh, is this really necessary? Is this actually making me money? Is this what's helping the business move forward? But you've got to take yourself out. You've got to put yourself as a CEO and take a bird's eye look at the business and how all the moving parts, and be objective. And there's a really great book called The E-Myth, where it explains all the different hats that you wear as as an entrepreneur, and you've got to take yourself out of that technician manager role and put yourself in the CEO role, and take like I said, take a bird's eye look at the business and where and how things are moving, and then automate where you can. So that's what a CEO does, rather than just like a manager or a technician who's just working harder, working harder, working harder. That's actually not moving your business forward. Um, automating your
I agree.
processes Automating your processes is what's going to move your business forward.
What is the book you mentioned?
It's the E-Myth, and it's an interesting look. It's an interesting book, and I've just forgotten the name of the author right now. I listen to there's an audio version as well. I listen to a lot of audio books when I'm exercising or when I'm, when I'm trying to take a break. I'll try to fill my brain with different ideas. It's a little he's written a whole series of books on the E-Myth, and um, yeah, it's a little bit icky in places because he can be a little bit. He uses an example of someone who's running a bakery, and he's using her as an example of why her business isn't growing, and
Mm-hmm.
he's a little grandfather like. He's a little bit patronizing at times, but the point that he's making is you shouldn't be working in your business, you should be working on your business. And as a CEO, that's where you need to be spending your time. At least, block out some time at least once a week, and to be objectively looking at what you're doing, and what all the staff are doing, and just figuring out if that's the most effective use of the resources at hand. Working harder, not necessarily going to move the needle. Working smarter,
Yeah.
working as a streamlining processes. That's what you do as a CEO, as compared to someone um, who's who's working as a manager, who's working as a technician. Um, and he explains that very well. If you just get over the ick factor of um, eh, his old-fashioned way of speaking to women. So
No, I understand. That's like the concept of working on your business versus working in your business. That's kind of a generally known concept these days. But what how can you differentiate between what is working in your business and what is working on your business? For a lot of entrepreneurs, when it is just, for example, one entrepreneur and two or three team members, that still means they have to work in their business as well. What it means for me is just how much time do you allocate to each one of these, right? But tell me, what would you say? What is the difference between working on your business versus in your business?
I mean, in my current business, I'm still working in it, because I still don't have enough um, the right people. However, I think anytime you're doing any work that is operational, that is that is the, how would I put it? That is the sign that you're working in your business. So when I say operational, it means that if you literally don't do that work, the business can't move forward, if you know what I mean. That is you working
Yeah.
in your business. So if I'm working strategically, maybe developing a plan or connecting with people or collaborating with people or checking my emails. If I don't check my emails, the business will still run. If I don't collaborate, the business will still run. If I don't, you know, if I don't do the strategic thinking or planning at that moment, the business can still run on that day. Yeah. So if you're doing anything that if you don't physically do it, the business will not run, then that is you doing operational work. And that is what you need to detach yourself from. You know, did I explain it well?
Yeah, yeah. So what I've done in order to do that, because I knew my trip with Cabo was coming up quite in advance. So what I've been doing is I started testing my team, where about 6 weeks ago I was just not available for one day. Then I wasn't available for 2 days. Then I wasn't available over reporting days. Then I wasn't available over invoicing days. Up until a point where I could practice basically and them practice for not being there all the time because I became the bottleneck. Everyone started asking me the question, but how about this? How can I do that? What about here? So when I remove myself and I assume a lot of other entrepreneurs does the same, when you remove yourself as the bottleneck of whatever the situation might be, that's usually when there is a greater responsibility that's been placed on the team, but it also empowers them to actually make those decisions. So I tested them out first, and then it was like, all right, guys, it's live. Now it's you. And it was one of the most
I
freeing
think,
feelings to not be able, or not being asked, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? What do I do here?
do you know
No
what? I
emails, and
want
I
to
came
add
back
to that.
and it fine. Sorry, yeah?
I, yeah, I want to add to that. I think we entrepreneurs, we think that the business can't run without us. But what I have found is that it can run. Because I remember then when I used to work in the office, you know, they as soon as you walk in, it's like they write a list of everything they're gonna ask you, and they start asking and asking and asking and asking. But it detaches them from literally using their brain, right? But when you're not there, they are forced to use their brain. They're forced to be creative, obviously within a certain parameter. They're forced to use their
Yeah.
brain. So the truth is that we have to come out of ourselves and say, you know what, these people can actually do this job. And it's okay to make mistakes, right? And when mistakes are made, you correct them. And it's like having a child. When mistakes are made, they get better. Same thing as people that work in your team. We have to empower them, as you said. Just get on with it. Rather than focusing on a day-to-day activity, we want to now focus, how can I move this business forward? Am I doing the best for my business at the moment? So I feel like that is where we have to be. And as I said, a chunk of my work, I'm still working in my business and I'm not happy about that. A good example, I've been extremely ill for the past a week or over a week, like seriously ill. It's not COVID, by the way. I think it's one of those viruses. I did COVID test 3 times and it's negative, so I'm so happy. But I'm just literally in the recovering. I'm just recovering now because I'm super, super tired. And then it dawned on me, oh my God, who's running my business right now? Right? I got right. There's still other parts within my business that is not standing, right? I don't have, normally you have a 4-legged chair or 3-legged chair that is standing, but my chair is not standing properly right now. And that just dawned on me, you know what? If I am ill or sick and I don't want to work, I want this business to still carry on. So all the little things I have not done, it's just really brought that to reality. Get on with it and make sure that things can run without you. Ensure your processes are in place. And when I talk about process, you don't have to be a big company.
Mm.
As a small company, even just make sure that when people log onto their computer, they know what they have to do, and just ensure that other operational activities are covered. And I think it actually brought that into reality for me, that, oh my God, I am so ill and I can't work. What about this other time? So I had to be forcing myself to be doing bits and pieces, which I did not like. So
Mm.
just wanted to add that.
I agree with that. So, Trace, you are keen on automation, which I am a total fan of as well. What is the first step that you think any entrepreneur needs to take when it comes to automation? What is like the first thing that it's a no-brainer, you can automate that?
Communications. I think, well, especially in my business. So lead generation and communication. So making sure that you really do have a good top of funnel, that you have that automated so that you're getting a lot of eyes on your business, and that you start moving them through into that validation stage, and warming them up, and that can be automated. So with automated email sequences, it could be like I said, automated email sequences, the automated videos, and then you move people into into different steps, and then when they're warmed up, then that's when you start to have more of a human interaction. I mean, because what you want to do is, you want as many people to see, to make sure that they're in the right spot, and that and they're the sort of customers that you want, and then you just move them through the sequence. And so and I do that. Yeah, and I do that in my bricks and mortar business as well. Whereas I have really documented a standard arc of the relationship. So at each point of that arc, they get a communication that's automated, and then and that takes care of all of the the busy work that I was doing, and then it leaves you time and headspace to really take care of the outlying problems or the outlying issues that really do need your attention. So yeah, communications is some really good tools out there these days that don't cost a lot of money. That is, your time is much more valuable than the few dollars a month it costs to put in some automation for communications.
I agree on that. The trick is, though, to not make people feel like they are speaking to an automated robot.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. Yes. You know, like I said, there with you've got to put your CEO hat on, and
Mm-hmm.
and look at the way that your business ebbs and flows. And that's when you can ask the question, can this be automated, yes or no? Not everything can be automated, and you don't want people to feel like they're in a bot sequence. I hate that. I hate automated messenger apps, but emails, when they've come into a relationship with me, and that they follow a particular a particular path, they need information at certain times, I've automated that along the way, and
Yeah.
that is still my voice, that is still my the information that my guests need. It's just coming out to them at a time that is that suits where they are in their journey. So it does take some time. You can't just get something out of the box and fit it to your business. You've got to be able to look at your business objectively, and that's when you decide on the tools, not the tools tell you when to do things. Does that make sense?
Totally. Very much. Yeah, it is. It's how you use them in order to optimize your unique situation. Majority of all entrepreneurs struggle with similar things. It's usually the value and the circumstance of the context that differ. But majority of us kind of struggle with the same things. Majority of us make the same stupid mistakes. And that's why we have these communities that you can come to and ask these questions, so you don't have to make all of those mistakes yourself. That just costs time, money, and effort, and something that all entrepreneurs hate to lose of. So, Tommy, what are one of the things that you like to put in place in your businesses that will ensure you, except for going to a different country or something like that, but that will ensure you to not look at your phone or be actually have the option to, but don't need to handle everything yourself? What are some of those things that you put in place?
Just
Tommy, I think you
realized
saw.
I just realized I'm on mute. Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, sure. What are the things that you put in place that um, you feel secure enough that your business is still running without you being part of the day-to-day things?
Um, as I said, at the moment, I'm not at that stage yet, and I'm hoping in the next few weeks I will have more freedom. Um, but my own guide is to check myself on a day-to-day basis whether I need to interfere to bring in sales, like how Tracy mentioned, where in terms of am I still needed in the lead generation stage? I want to be able to go to an event, networking event, and meeting, and not feel that I'm wasting my time, like I've got work, you know, not thinking that I'm not achieving, that there's some projects that have been delayed because I'm the only one that can do it. So I guess my own guide is, can I, whatever I'm doing, does the business need me? If the answer is the business doesn't need me, then I know that I'm doing it right. So that's my own guide.
That's cool. My own guide is usually if the company or the profits are still increasing while I didn't do much. That's the ultimate place
Say
where
that again.
that my profits are still increasing, but I'm personally not doing much.
Okay.
That's the place where I feel like I have then completely broken through the entrepreneurial jail, and now I am just the owner, and I can go and do my nails whenever I want to. I was having that
However,
discussion with someone.
can I ask, are you saying then that your profit, your the rate of increase of your profit is proportional to your availability at work? Because
At previous stages,
profit
that was, mm-hmm.
profit doesn't necessarily mean that it's because you're there. Profit is just more of maybe from your pricing point of view, or maybe being more cost effective, or having more sales in. So whether you're there or whether you're not there, it should not matter. I don't know
Either
whether
way, it should. I slightly disagree on you, because if you're there and you still generate all the profit yourself, not just sales, the profit, that means your business is still very much reliant on you. If you're away from it, but the business is still growing, you're in a situation to sell the business, because then it's no longer dependent on you to run this. So that's kind of where it's linked. And I 100% agree with you that profit is a system that is built from the efficiencies, the optimization, how you put your team together, and the systems that you have in place. But it also depends on how much of that am I, as the entrepreneur or the owner itself, is doing, and how much am I not.
But um how much profit? Where is the map that is?
No
I'm
one
trying to
can
say.
say that.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
yeah.
You can't link your availability to your increase in profit, because to be honest with you, if you're not working on a day-to-day basis, right? And obviously your sales is still working, your business is still growing, but then profit is different, because profit is you reviewing strategically, how can I increase that margin, right? Because sometimes you don't necessarily have to increase in sales for your profit to be better, right? But
Exactly.
so my point is that as an entrepreneur, I don't think you can literally detach yourself from a profit point of view unless you have a CEO, right? Because after you is a CEO, and then the operational manager, and then everybody else, right? So I don't think you could detach yourself. I mean, to be honest, profit is not something that's measured on a day-to-day basis anyway, right? It's done on a routine basis. My point is that I don't think you can't detach yourself from from assessing the profit of a company, because really that's your job. That is it. And the good thing is that it's not a day-to-day kind of thing. I don't know. That's my thoughts anyway.
Maybe. And I agree with what you're saying to an extent. But if you have set up your team to that extent of where you have everyone in place and your profits are still increasing, not just your revenue, because if revenue is just increasing, it doesn't mean that you're actually making money. It just means that you're making more sales. And I don't want to be measured by having, for example, a $10 million company and I'm still not making money. Then that's why would we do that? I would like to have then, for example, a $1 million company, but 60% of that is profit. That would be something a lot more appealing to me than having just a bunch of revenue coming in. And that's why I strongly believe that my availability linked to the profit kind of should not be there, because I want to live my life and I want to do other things than just be responsible for everything that's happening here. Because then, in my opinion, I get stuck into the survival mode again of I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to check my emails, I need to go to the da 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 da. And that's kind of where the separation needs to come and happen. So what are the people and the systems and everything else needs to be in place in order for your profits to still grow, or to still increase, even though you are no longer there? Does that help? You still on
I
mute,
guess if
sweet.
you, sorry, I guess if you have a system in place where, I don't know, I understand that if you have a system in place to check, but I guess if you're not checking you on a weekly basis, or I guess I don't know. Does
So
that
for
make
me,
sense? You're
profit,
right.
I agree, but profit is, in the accounting sense, always checked at the end of the year only, or quarterly, for
No,
example.
no, 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 no,
That
no, no,
is.
no. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, not at the end of the year, obviously, but it's something that I think you as an entrepreneur still responsible for, unless you, as I said, unless you have like a CEO. I don't think
Responsible
you can
maybe, but
100%.
I'm also, so responsible, yes, because you're still the risk taker. But isn't that exactly why we put people and systems in place in order to break through of that? Because that for me is the ultimate goal, to still increase in profit, but not being directly involved with everything. If I want to be, that's a different story. But if I don't want to be, it should not affect the profit that the company is making.
Mm, I don't know. I still don't know how that will be possible if you're not involved from a profit point of view, because you might have all the systems in place, but if you take your eyeballs off your profit, trust me, no matter how much great your employees are or what system in place, it can really turn the other way. I'm not saying
It
that you're
can.
constantly checking on a daily basis, but my point is that if there are two things that you have to be responsible for as an entrepreneur when you're running your business, is continuous collaboration or outreach,
Mm.
learning on how to improve your you know outreach, and basically be on top of what's going on and what's happening in the market and things like that. And secondly is your profits. And when I say profit, I mean like profit margin.
Mm.
I think those are the two things that you can't afford to um, get your eyeball off. Because, okay, a very good example, say for example a project comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
A project comes in from a client, and it's supposed to take X number of days, right? For one weird reason, it's taking longer, right? Obviously, you're not part of the how would I put it? The day-to-day operational, so that might not get to you, right? Maybe the manager is managing it, maybe there's one problem or the other, and they're sorting it out themselves. Now, what tends to happen is that means if they're supposed to take 6 days and if they're taking 10 days, that is in a way affecting your profit, right?
Not in a
And
way,
that
that is destroying profit.
I know, because it's taking longer, right? My point is, yes, you're not a part of the day-to-day operational because you don't want to be doing that. But when you check your data, say for example, every month or
Mm-hmm.
monthly data, and you have a look at that, okay, what's happened here? Why is this profit margin this way? When you're checking your KPIs with the managers, at that point in time, it would flag up that, okay, projects are taking longer than usual. And then, people can come up with different excuses, but it could just mean that maybe your processes are just too slow. Maybe there's a way to improve it. My point is that your profit margin is an indicative, like an indicator of probably what needs to change, what changes is happening or needs to
Mhm.
you need to do to improve things so that you can keep that margin bigger. And at the same time, when you are introducing new things in the business, like when you want to expand your business, right? That profit margin is going to go down because obviously you're spending more. And this is why, with regards to profits, I'm not even talking about sales now. I don't think you can literally detach from it, even regardless of how big you are. And the thing is, it's because it's not something that's measured on a day-to-day or on a weekly basis. So you can still do that. But I don't think you can detach it. I want to know when you detach it, let me know. Maybe there is a way.
So,
I
so
don't know how you can do that though.
I'm hearing is, yes, I do agree with you that someone in a senior position needs to always be there. For example, if you have a CEO or a
Yeah.
whatever, that I 100% agree with you, but it doesn't have to be me. That doesn't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to be
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
owner or the entrepreneur. And I think that's maybe where we had the misgap because, yeah, if there is a massive deal going down, the CEO or the decision maker needs to be in that room when that happens, 100%.
Mm,
But that
mm.
does not have to be me, or it does not have to be the entrepreneur himself. It is if they'd like to be. I would like to create a system or a business where if I want to be, I can step in and I can. But if I don't want to be, I don't have to. There are people and
Mm.
systems in place to handle those things. That for me is the ultimate of breaking through the entrepreneurial jail. To have the system and the people in place that I don't have to be there. I can go do something else. Does that make better sense?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And
Mm,
that's why I said that if you're going to detach, you want to have like a CEO in place
yeah.
because
A
they
decision
are the
maker of
people,
sorts.
yeah,
Yeah,
because they are the people that are going to be monitoring your KPIs of the company.
exactly. And people still like to do business with people. So I
Hmm.
100% agree with you. But thank you so much. This was an awesome discussion today. Next week we'll be here, same
Yeah.
time, same place. Guys, follow us on Facebook, Superwomen Entrepreneurs, on Instagram, and on join our group, Superwomen Entrepreneurs. We're here every Tuesday, same time, same place, with our different entrepreneurs. And our global mastermind will be live very soon. The ladies are approving the stuff as it speaks. So I am really excited to have you guys on board. This is an awesome thing, and I'd love to invite each and every one of you to come join our mastermind, be part of the conversation, be part of the change, be part of the community that is actually breaking through of this entrepreneurial drain, and go on holiday and not check your emails. That's our ultimate. So thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Tommy, any last words from you?
Oh, keep doing the work. Don't give up, and don't work too hard. Take time out to rest and don't get ill.
Very cool. Cheers, guys.
Bye.